Hi guys, welcome back to rom.com, where I watch and review romantic comedies, suggesting the best ones for you, maybe suggesting ones that you haven't seen before, but basically rating them off of quality, content. Are they romantic comedy? And so for today, I have I've watched and reviewed one of my all-time favorite romantic comedies. I would say it's more on like the drama side of the romantic comedies, but still like such a sweet rom-com is Pride and Prejudice. It is actually like my all-time favorite. Like I watch it at least 5 times a year. It's so lighthearted and it's just so much like swooning over like the actors and the actual like plot story of the movie. So with that, let's get started. So the movie is directed by Wright. He's known for a lot of films, very successful director. Some of the ones he's known for are actually other films done by the starring actors. So for Keira Knightley, he did Atonement, and for Matthew Macfadyen, he did Anna Karina. I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, basically, the thing is that he's just he has so much experience working with these actors and actresses. And he's also did The Darkest Hour. If you've seen that, was about Winston Churchill. Very great movie. It was very good. And then he also did Pan, which is like an adaptation of Peter Pan. Also very interesting. I would definitely check that out. And then lastly, I thought this was a fun fact. He directed Bring It On, All or Nothing, which I think is really cool. I was not expecting that one to come out of left field. So whether or not you enjoy that movie, if you haven't seen it, definitely see it. But if you definitely enjoy it, check this one out, because like I think it's just so cool that like the director of Bring It On also did Pride and Prejudice. So anyways, a little bit about the starring actors and actresses. Keira Knightley, phenomenal, absolutely amazing. She is known for another romantic comedy, if you might know, Love Actually. With the Christmas season, I definitely think you should check it out, because it's definitely a Christmas movie, and not like the Hallmark type. I mean, although some of them are pretty good, it's more of like the romance side, like. So anyways, check that out. She's also known for the Pirates of the Caribbean season, or Caribbean, the Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry, but she stars in those movies. And then finally, there's another rom-com, which I actually haven't seen yet, but she stars in it, so it has to be good, is Begin Again. So definitely, if you love her in this movie, or you just know a lot about her and her background, and love romantic comedies, which if you're watching these videos, you definitely maybe are a fan of romantic comedies, I definitely think you should check out Begin Again. And then finally, sorry, I'm yapping a lot, but finally, Matthew Macfadyen, who also stars in this movie. He is actually he's known less for like the romance side of film, but he definitely has a very diverse range in terms of acting. So he actually just was in Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out a couple months ago. So if you're big Deadpool Wolverine fans, and you found him funny in that, maybe you'll enjoy this movie. And then he's also known for Death at a Funeral, and then the very long streaming TV show Succession. So with that, let's get started. Pride and Prejudice is actually based on the novel Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and Jane Austen, she's amazing. She absolutely just knows how to take pen to paper and make a masterpiece. And Pride and Prejudice is no short of that. So basically the movie follows that plot line, and to take you a little bit into it, basically it's set in more of like, would it be like more towards like the Victorian era? Hold on, let me check this out. Okay, so like the 1800s, like late 1700s, early 1800s. You know, to different men, the families aim to get the more wealthy men, because that means better things for their family. So that's kind of like this whole time period. And so a big theme with Jane Austen is these like woman or like feminine roles in which they're trying to break the boundaries or the expectations of women in society. And so that's kind of like a lot of what this movie is based around, but at the same time, like, she also wants to be there for her family, but like, again, she doesn't want to just marry anyone, like, you know, because I mean, who wants to just marry like a random person off the street just for his money? I mean, not saying like that's a bad thing, because like at least you'll be well off for the rest of your life, but at the same time, like, you want to marry for love. Like, that's the whole reason people get married. And so she kind of like takes this backseat role in her family's like path in trying to get all the daughters married, because there's so many daughters in this family, and so no sons basically, and they really need to marry wealthy so that their family can, like, you know, be prosperous, and I mean, at the same time, like, they're very family oriented. They like love each other. They want the best for them at the end of the day. The father more than the mom. And so, by the way, this takes place in England. So if that gives more context to like what type of like society this is. So anyways, I'm ranting on a little bit, but basically it's like this whole, like, the beginning is kind of like her doing her own thing, her mom wanting to get her married off, and she's just like, I want to marry someone for me, you know. So she's kind of like more acting like a sister and like less about like looking into like different men and like being interested in them, and like all these men, you know, try to talk to her, but she's like kind of like, you know, a blank slate. So fast forward, there's this big ball that's put on, and the whole family, which is the Bennett family, that Keira Knightley, her character Lizzie, is in, they all go to this ball to like kind of like talk to the different guys and like, you know, get the daughters married off. And so when she's there, you know, this mysterious brother and sister walk in, and like everyone's really confused because like no one expected them to be there, but like also they all know the other guy who's there, who's kind of like friends with them, who was the one that invited these two, which is Mr. Darcy and his sister. Well, not his sister, actually. They're not siblings. They're just friends, I think. Okay, so it's actually, so Mr. Bingley is the one that is very well loved in this like little town, and everyone knows. And so he brings along his sister, Caroline, and then Mr. Darcy, which is his best friend. Sorry, that was a little bit confusing there, but basically like it's like this mysterious guy. Like Mr. Darcy's like very mysterious and kind of you get like the first half of the name Pride, in which he's very prideful, he's very like surface level, like no one can read him. And so this like stands out to Lizzie, and so she is kind of inquisitive, but at the same time like she doesn't like him in the beginning. And so this is where like that trope of rom-com comes into play that I really love, is the enemies to lovers. As much as it's kind of unhealthy, I think that there's something to say about like the fact that people usually have the stereotype of others that they make at the beginning, and they don't really try to get to know the person. Like they only use like first impressions basically. And so it's kind of like interesting to see that, because like I think that's really important to not go off of just first impressions, but to get to know the person. And so it's interesting to see the side of like when you first meet a person and they end up being very standoffish, and then you just kind of like are like, well, I don't like this person, and they end up like having like little tiffs kind of thing. But you can kind of see you don't really see it at the first ball, but like further along in the movie, when you get more of a sense of like they keep saying like they're enemies, but really like they kind of grow close and like see like a different side of them, and talking to other people, not even each other, but like to different people who give different stories about who they are. It kind of helps like develop the sense of like, wait, maybe they do like each other, because like you see it more in their facial expressions than the actual words. And although I will say that a big important part about this movie that I thoroughly enjoy, and I think it's a little bit lacking in movies today, is the dialogue, and more so like the writing style, and like the prose, all those different elements of grammar and style that go into writing some very good, passionate dialogue. And so that is definitely one factor that really hits like the heart. And then, so basically the ending too, I'm just gonna wrap up the romance side of it, because like I don't want this to go on too long, but basically the romance side of it is like they go from enemies to realizing that they really do like each other. And it's not really towards the end, like it's a very back and forth like throughout the movie, but it's done in such a way that's almost entertaining. Like you really like start to believe like maybe they really don't like each other, and then like maybe they do, but then you're just like confused, you're like maybe they don't, and it's like it's very convincing. You end up like gaslighting yourself into thinking like, oh, they really don't like each other. But anyways, so the ending though is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I definitely would give it a watch, because I mean, you know me and my endings, but it did bring tears to my eyes, and that was like so motivating. It's like, this is what true love should be like. And so the other side of it, the comedy part, is gonna be really quick, because as much as it's not like, you know, the comedy like haha kind of like telling jokes, or the events, it's very lighthearted. It's a, you know, very happy movie, I would say, especially with the end. But there's different points in it, especially with the sisters, different events in it, the different characters. Like there's some odd characters that kind of like are like, okay, but it's definitely a very lighthearted movie, which kind of goes to that like comedy side of it. But I would definitely say it's more romance drama, but you do have comedy in there, so you could call it a rom-com or romantic comedy, whichever way you want to put it. And so with that, I'm going to wrap it up because it is time to go. So thank you guys for watching. I apologize again for such a long video, but I hope you found this information to be useful, helpful. If you don't, please comment, because the only way I can really help you guys out giving you the best content, but also like making sure it's very thorough and has a lot of depth to it. So with that, please follow my Instagram, make sure to subscribe, comment down below, like the video, all that great stuff. Definitely check out my Instagram because it holds all my up-to-dates about when my videos are coming out, when they are posted, the links to the videos, the links to the watch guides, all that great stuff. It's definitely very useful if you really love romantic comedies, and if you want to find out where to watch this movie or other movies that maybe are on your streaming service, or you're trying to look for a streaming service that has a lot of romantic comedies, that's another place to check out. So with that, thank you.